캐나다식어밖에 없는 거 아닌가 모르겠네요.
그럴 가능성이
기다리는 사람이
높습니다.
9명밖에 없으면 완전히.
Hello everyone, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I don't know what time it is right now where you are, but it is 10 p.m. here
Good
in the
afternoon.
UK. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
네, 교수님
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
Hello, thank you so much for joining everyone. So it's our final CLS class, and thank you so much for your active participation until now. Before we start, I would just like to ask someone to pray. Would it be okay if Gabrielle, if you could help us with the opening prayer? Would that be okay?
Oh, dear Heavenly Parents, as we start this last meeting, we want to look back and be so grateful for what has been brought to us as new understanding, new inspiration, new ways to do things. So we're very grateful for Professor Gill, all the efforts he has made during those years to collect information, to collect data, to think about different ways to do things. We pray that each one of us will keep that enrichment and use it for your heavenly purpose. So I express this gratitude and this desire to use this for your providence. I report this in my name, Gabriel of the Tuesday Central Blessed Family. Jew.
Drew, thank you so much for that prayer. Now it's time to take attendance. So this is our final attendance for our class. So please make sure you go ahead to the chat room to write down your name, your country, subregion, responsibility, phone number, and email. So while you're doing that, I would just like to introduce our, today's participants. First of all, I would like to welcome each and every one of you, I believe from Canada and also from Oceania. Thank you so much for joining, even though we're having the class 2 hours earlier than normal. So with a round of applause, please let's welcome each other to our final Cyber Leader School class. Okay, thank you. Now, from the international headquarters, I would like to welcome our coach for today, Professor Gill. Please welcome him with a round of applause. Hello, Professor Gill. All right, and our interpreter for today is Mrs. Christina Lee Kambashi. So please welcome her with a warm round of applause and thank her for helping us with today's interpretation. Okay, and our host is someone new. Her name is Songhua, and she's from Colombia, a graduate from Sun Moon University. She will be with us going forward into the next CLS 3 as well. So please welcome her with a warm round of applause. Now, and lastly, I would like to introduce myself. As you all know, my name is Ami Smart Ngama, and I am the Cyber Leader School coordinator and also your MC for today. So thank you for joining us once again. I would like to briefly go over today's program. So first of all, Professor Gill would be sharing a short video about our core topic for today, which is DISC assessment table. So we sent out announcements beforehand that you all must attend with a copy of the DISC assessment table. So this is actually in the HTM book series and in book 4. Those of you who don't have the book, we requested that you print a copy of the of the disc table so that, I mean, today is going to be a practical class basically. So if you don't have it right with you right now, please make sure that you go grab it before Professor Gill starts his explanation. Now, after Professor Gill's explanation, there would be time for some Q&A and also some reflection time for us to share how the whole course went for the 9 months. And then Professor Gill would pick a few people to share. So without further ado, let us welcome Professor Gill to share his video on disc assessment table. So please let's welcome him with a round of applause.
네, 우선 좀 공유 좀 하다가 우리 비디오를 함께 보도록 하겠습니다. 오늘이 사실은 그 CLS2의 마지막 시간입니다.
Today is the last class of the CLS2.
이제 우리가 3월 달이 되면은 열심히 공부하신 분들 앞에 수료증을 주는 시간을 갖습니다.
In March, those who participated and studied hard during this course will receive a certificate.
이 시간에는 그 참어머님을 대신해서 우리 윤영호 세계 본부장이 직접 참석해서 여러분한테 격려하고 수료증도 함께 줄 것으로 알고 있습니다.
For the certificate ceremony, I mean award ceremony, in place of True Mother, we invited Dr. Young-ho Yoon, who is the Director General. He will attend to encourage us and yes.
지금 한국에서는 집중적으로 1년 정도 한국을 모델로 해서 세계로 전파시켜야 된다는 그런 집념으로 엄청나게 지금 바쁜 일정을 한국은 지금 지내고 있습니다.
In Korea right now, for 1 year as a model nation, they are trying to really make a good foundation and working really hard so they can spread and share that method that they are practicing or doing it right now.
전 목회자에게 43과정을 100일 안에 꼭 해야 된다고 말씀하신 지가 이제 한 며칠이 지나고 있습니다.
True Mother gave a direction to all pastors in Korea to fulfill finding and blessing 43 families. She gave 100 days, a 100-day period, which just finished not long ago.
그래서 이제 그 세 번째 그 목사님들의 그 활동 보고가 끝났습니다. 세 차례에.
And there was a report, 3 different sessions of reports about these activities by all pastors in Korea.
그리고 요 다음에 이제 뭐가 나타나냐 하면은 일반 축복 과정들 또 첨보 과정들에 대한 43과정 실세화에 대한 그런 작업이 또 시작될 겁니다.
And after this, after the church, pastors finishing 43 couples and families blessing, all blessed families and chombo families also needed to have this 43 couples blessing accomplished.
그래서 지금 세계 지도자들은 한국의 진행에 굉장히 많은 지금 그 관심을 갖고 집중하고 있는 것으로 알고 있습니다.
I'm sure all church leaders and pastors throughout the world have a lot of interest and they are watching carefully what Korea is doing.
그 가운데 우리가 지금 공부하고 있는 이 스타일과 이 타겟은 그야말로 소그룹, 나를 중심해서 소그룹 가정교회를 만드는데 아주 적절한 아주 좋은 케이스 스터디가 되고 있습니다.
And the way we have been studying the style and target, centering on I myself and developing into small groups and further it can develop into family church. It is a really good case and a way of doing things, doing this work.
그래서 아주 우리가 지금 1년 우리가 이걸 공부를 했는데 앞으로 공부하는 것도 결국 이 타켓을 도움이 될 수 있는 그런 스타일로 우리가 공부가 될 겁니다.
We have been studying together for almost a year, and even from now on, we will develop this course more to support and help to meet this target of developing family church throughout the world.
참 고마운 것은 이 캐나다 우리 식구님들이 회장님을 중심 삼고 또 참 심영매 원장님 중심 삼고 너무 열심히 참 참석해 주셔가지고 제가 감동받고 너무 감사합니다.
I'm really moved and grateful to Canadian, especially Canadian members centering on Dr. Kim and all Heavenly Tribal Messiahs who have been participating in this course very diligently. I'm really thankful for
그래서
your
이
participation.
수료식 시간에도 캐나다에서 이렇게 대표로 좋은 감상문을 좀 해주셨으면 고맙겠습니다.
When we will conduct the ceremony for awarding certificates, I hope some of you will share your inspiration and your experience through this course as representatives.
우리 어저께도 CLS를 했는데 불어권을 했습니다만은 저는 아프리카에서 너무나 큰 감동을 받았습니다.
Yesterday also we had the CLS class centering on French-speaking people members, and I was really moved by the participation of people yesterday.
솔직히 고백하자면요, 한 1년 이것을 하다 보니까 듣는 사람이나 가르치는 사람이나 이게 좀 뭐라고 할까 처음보다는 좀 마음이 좀 덜해진 것은 사실이었습니다.
To be honest with you, we've had this class for about a year, and those who are participating, and including me who is teaching, we didn't have the mindset that when we first started, right, freshly started.
근데 이 화면에서 어떤 그 목사님이 마이크를 들고 내가 얘기하면 똑같이 마이크를 들고 막 얘기하는 모습이 보여졌습니다.
And during the class, in the screen, we saw there was one pastor. When I speak and explain something, and the pastor with holding a microphone was talking to some people.
그래서 질의응답 시간에 우리 아미 우리 선생이 그 목사님을 집어서 물어보니까 놀랍게도 그 큰 교회 안에 기성교회 목사들, 종단의 종단장들이 다 모여서 이것을 듣고 있는 것이었습니다.
And during the Q&A session, Miss Smart asked the pastor in what he was doing, and surprisingly, in a big church, there was a lot of people gathered, including the Christian church pastors and tribe leaders, and they were all gathered together, and he was translating what Professor Kiel was explaining into their language.
그래서 저는 깜짝 놀랐고 온 스태프들이 다 깜짝 놀랐습니다.
So we were really surprised, including all the staff here and myself.
이거는 우리 뜻이 아니고 하늘 부모님의 뜻이로구나. 이 교육하는 내용과 그걸 들어야 되는 일들이.
So this is not just like our way of doing things, but it's God's will. Heavenly Parent is working behind the scene.
그래서 어제 하루 종일 회개하는 마음으로 이렇게 지냈습니다.
So yesterday, like all day, I was repenting myself deeply.
그래서 오늘 그런 마음을 가지고 또 CLS 다음에 끝나면 3를 시작해야 된다는 마음을 갖고 함께 하겠으니까 우리 캐나다 식구님 회장님께서 많이 지지해 주기 바랍니다.
So with that kind of mind, let's participate let's do today's CLS session, and the next one also, which will start from March, CLS3. Especially, I would like to ask Dr. Munshi Kim to support and help
예,
us
오늘
with this.
우리가 공유할 내용은 참 중요한 내용을 공유하게 되어 있습니다.
What we will share today is very important contents.
왜냐하면은 어차피 우리가 활동하려면은 사람들하고 관계를 해야 됩니다. 관계를.
The reason is when we are doing activities, we have to relate with people.
우리가 관계 실수라는 거는 서로 나와 관계하는 자를 모르기 때문에 실수를 많이 이제 하게 되지요.
We often make many different kinds of mistakes in relating with people because we don't know myself, or we don't know the person that we are relating to.
그래서 우리가 종교인으로 다가가는 것보다는 일단은 전문인으로 상대한테 다가가서 이 관계에 대한 설문을 받는 것이 참 중요하다고 봅니다.
So I think it's very important that we approach people not as a religious person or religious group, but rather more professional way that we can ask for a survey about their personalities and so on, and to develop a relationship is very important.
가정에서 이제 부부끼리 싸우고 자녀와 부모끼리 싸운다든가 또는 이웃 또는 교회에서 사이가 좋지 않다든가 이 모든 것들이 나오는 이유가 있습니다.
There is a reason why people don't have good relationships, either in the family, between a couple, between parents and children, or between neighbors, or even in the church.
그건 왜냐하면은 저 사람이 나를 싫어한다, 저 사람이 나를 경멸한다, 저 사람이 나를 좋아한다, 이런 생각을 듣게끔 상대방이 행동하는 것이기 때문입니다.
The reason is because often we might think, oh, that person doesn't like me or hates me, or the person liked me, or with that kind of understanding or way of thinking, we kind of relate to each other.
네, 그런 것을 미리 알면 얼마나 좋겠습니까?
Wouldn't it be much more helpful if we know it ahead of time?
이런 걸 알기 위한 여러 가지 심리학적 도구가 많이 있습니다.
There are many different tools, psychological tools, to help and support this.
아마 대학교에서는 MBTI라고 하는 그런 아마 그 조사를 했을 겁니다.
In colleges and universities, I believe they use MBTI method.
또 Enneagram,
Enneagram이요?
Enneagram,
Enneagram.
예, Enneagram 그런 프로그램도 있습니다.
And there are these kinds of programs as well.
예, 그래서 오늘은 디스크라고 하는 프로그램을 갖고 여러분과 함께 테스트해 보려고 합니다.
Today, we'll be using a program called DISC to assess our personality types.
예, 아주 심플하면서도 동양적인 그런 그 감각도 있고 이래가지고 참 그 우리가 배우기도 쉽고 또 이렇게 가르치기도 쉽답니다.
It's very simple method. It also includes more of Oriental 감각을 뭐라고 해야 되나? Way. It's easier to learn and also easier to teach, I find.
하여튼 중요한 거라고 아시고 여러분 지금 그 혹시 시트지를 갖고 오셨습니까? 검사용지를 갖고 있으면 이렇게 한번 보여주시면.
So just think it as it's a very important. Have you all brought your table, that you're supposed to bring? Yes?
아이 고맙습니다. I'm perfect.
Thank you.
예.
That's perfect.
그러면은 바로 우리가 이에 대한 강의를 쭉 한번 들어보시고 그 다음에 우리가 함께 서로 대화를 나누는 걸 하겠습니다. 일단은 강의를 한번 들어보시고.
Then let's listen to the lecture first, and then let's talk about it together afterwards.
강의를 분명히 띄워놨는데 어디로 도망갔지? 미안합니다. 아까 강의를 분명히 같이 봤는데 지금 보질 않네, 이상하게.
I'm sorry, we've watched the video earlier, but I can't start it now.
혹시 그 비디오를 갖고 계신 분 계십니까? 갑자기 없어졌네요.
Um,
그러면은
유튜브로 들어오서.
유튜브로 제가 들어가서 한번 해보겠습니다. 미안합니다. 이런 일도
Sorry,
있네요.
he will connect to YouTube. He couldn't find the video file on his computer.
In this class, we will study good
보입니까?
psychological
네네.
tools to aid in building relationship with the people for the success of Heavenly Travel Messiahs. True parents told us to explore the philosophy of living human beings in order to guide people. Let's read the True Parents' word together. You have to explore the philosophy of living human. Always think about how you can lead those people to me or to our group. You have to explore the philosophy of living human following True Parents. Well, today I am sharing a district assessment chart which examined pupils' behavior pattern. Knowing this will make it much easier for you to be successful in leading a home group or 43 family travel groups. On the Dix chart, there are 4 behavioral patterns. This personality type assessment describes human behavior pattern. It is divided into 4 categories: dominance, D type; influence, I type; steadiness, S type; and compliance, C type. Look at the picture here. These pupils are showing different personality types. This assessment is a great tool for identifying human behavior patterns. Understanding yourself and others better can help you maintain good relationships for successful activities and a successful life. It makes it easier for you to relate to others if you know pupils' behavior type. In particular, knowing the behavioral patterns of the family members you encounter every day can soften your relationships with them. However, this behavior type does not represent an absolute assessment of a person. Nor does it mean that the categories are superior or inferior to each other. All behavior types have strengths and weaknesses, and people can improve their type behaviors as they develop and train themselves. Okay, what do you think of when you see the following picture? You are trying to pick out the best student at an animal school. But how can fish and dog climb a tree to the top and become the best student? As for fishy, in rivers or seas, they can just show their best ability, right? How about you? Where are you? Where will you be able to obtain the best result? It is very important to aware of this, that this assessment can be a big help here. For example, the D types, which is leading type, is a person who takes initiative in everything, overcomes obstacles, and creates an environment of himself. In order to achieve results, D-type people like a quick result, challenge, and lead old people actions. They are also manager style, owner, who make quick decisions to solve problems and show good leadership skill. The I type is very sociable. This is a person who can persuade others. They like to create a fun environment. They also like to meet people, entertained with their good speaking skill, and are fascinated about friendship and harmonious relationships. Another quality, I type have optimism about everything. The S type person act in pursuit of stability. In order to solve problems at work, they like to cooperate with others and make sure work operation runs smoothly. They listen to others and work well with them to solve problems. C-type pupils are prudent type. They are analytical, seek accuracy in their work, and are interested in detail. They display a critical trait in performing their job. It is a style of indirectly or preparistically approaching complex within themselves or their organization. If you get to know people through this disc analysis, you will have a very good relationships with them. Then let's find out how to do the assessment. First of all, you need to find out about yourself. Start by checking your score on the chart you have. Through learning and practicing your behavior type, you can learn how to analyze other pupil behavior type. What is my personality type? The score needs to be written out under each respective column using the following format: 4, 3, 2, 1. The squash should be described like 3, 2, 1, 4, for example, not using the same number more than once like 1, 3, 3, 4, or leaving blank like 1, 2, 3, a blank. Write the total score for each line in 1, 2, 3, and 4. Total of 150. I D type, 1 D type, 2 I type, 3 S type, 4 C type. A score of 39 or more is your personality type. A score of 39 or more is your personality type. The highest score is your main personality type. The graph can be an example. When looking at the two highest scores, the first is seen as an ID type, and as in the second table, it is understood as a DC type. Let's analyze the D-type personality. The D-type person is a dominant type, goal-oriented and result-oriented. They are indulgent but have a tendency to dominate others. They are leaders, pioneers, explorers, mediators, problem solvers. The D types are 3% of the entire population. The weakness of D types persons are a tendency to be confrontational, controversial, and contrary. Their fears are resistance from others and being used by others. How do D-type people like to be treated? D-type people prefer that others explain problems in a simple, direct way. They like to be asked what to do rather than how to do, because they focus on outcome rather than process. In situation, they are interested in making decisions according to what the end result might be. One should speak to them based on fact rather than feelings. What are I-type people like? They are sociable and inspiring. It's fun to be around them. They are popular and usually well dressed. Yeah? They are persuasive and have a tendency to influence the other around them. They are atmosphere livers. They are fascinating, optimistic, emotional, sentimental, and impulsive. I types are 12% of the population. Their weaknesses are a tendency to focus on popularity rather than result, missing detail and specifics, disorganization and dislike organizational frameworks. I type like to be in front of the crowd, therefore. They are popular instructors and suitable speakers, very suitable speakers. On the other hand, they fear being rejected or excluded socially. How do I-type people like to be treated? I-type people like when others support their ideas and feelings, give them the opportunity to talk, and acknowledge their achievement. They like to share their ideas and experience with others. I-type people love it when they are given chance to impress or motivate others, and people respond to them in a likewise kind and cheerful manner. What are S-type people like? S-type are stable type. They are good listeners, team players, executors, and collaborators. They are warm, understanding, patient, trustworthy, and loyal to the organization. These kind of people do not easily leave in organization of which they have been a long time member. Some weakness of S-types are the following: dislike change, unclear priorities, and a strong desire for self-ownership. They fear losing stability the most. 69% of the population are S-type. How do S-type people like to be treated? They like it when others show genuine interest in them as human beings. When others express appreciation generously, when others answer questions on how, when their roles are clearly defined, and when others present ideas, change, and feedback in a kind, sensitive manner. When are C-type people like? The C-type are discreet. They are serious-minded people. They are researchers, organizers, and advisors. They think very deeply about things and like information and think to be accurate. They are systematic. They are very systematic and have high standard. The weakness of C-types are getting catch up in detail too much and missing big picture. They can be critical with the tendency to point out the shortcomings of others. C-type people fear criticism about their work or effort. How do C-type people like to be treated? C-type people like to receive accurate information for understanding things. They also like others to patiently listen when they attempt to explain things. They like it when people agree with their opinion fact, based on fact rather than feelings. They are independent people and like to be give their own space. Okay, please, we have a meeting. This is meeting style. So, what did you learn through this process? What are the characteristics that represent you? What are the strengths and weakness of your behaviors? Write down all the behavior type of your home group members. What are some of the behaviors you have that you think may affect inconvenience the home? What can you do to make a great contribution to the home? Who is the most difficult person to deal with? How will you treat them in order to create an excellent Trinity or become a heavenly travel messiahs. With this content, it is up to you now to decide how you will develop your strength, weakness, or change any uncomfortable characteristic you may have in a way that will benefit you and your home group. Okay, I have shared this assessment method with you. Which type do you belong to, and when does your work efficiently improve? We shouldn't finish this with just an analysis. After applying this, you need to have a meeting. In the next chapter, you should take some time to think how you will treat others. After checking the DISC assessment at the home group meeting, to evaluate yourself. Thank you. Thank you very much for your lesson. Thank
자, 일단 이 영상을 클릭하신 분들은 절반은 작업했습니다. 시간이 많습니다. 자, 일단 제가 가지고 있는
Thank you so much, Professor Gill. We're going to go into the practice. I'm just going to pass the mic over back to Professor Gill to continue. So, Professor Gill, when you're ready, please.
Sorry. Okay, so I have question, everyone. Okay, Reverend Kasumi.
Yes.
So what did you learn through this lesson?
Today's lesson?
Yes.
Yes. I myself was not interested in typing people through this type of survey because by seeing people a couple of times, by our own perception, we understand what kind of person they are. But before I joined this class, I did this by myself, and I shared the result with my wife. And I don't think this is my type, but she said this is the very type of mine. So in that sense, maybe this is accurate. And in that sense, to know people objectively, maybe this could be a good tool. I'm not sure yet, but I came to be interested.
Yeah. Okay, do you know your wife's type?
Do I know what?
Yeah, your wife's type.
She's the kind of sorry, I forgot.
You know?
Yeah, she shared, but
By your own judgment, you said you would know by seeing people a couple of times. So
be careful here. Be very careful.
but
okay, I know. My question is the wrong question. 우리 김문식 회장님 어떻게 생각하세요?
Okay. Dr. Kim, what do you think about today's class lesson?
I'm sorry, maybe I was supposed to take a test, but I didn't.
No, we're not.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I think it's very interesting. I tried to figure out what type I belong to. So I think this is, I believe it's helpful to figure out the character of the home group member. And I think it's a good tool to assess the member of my home group. And based on that, I can treat the different type of people. That's what I learned from this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Franco. Yeah.
Reverend Familaro.
Dr. Gill, very good to see you. And I'm very sorry I'm late because I couldn't make it on time and I missed the most important part. But I've been through this test before and I'm equal in every area. This I know. But you probably don't believe me. But it's a very good effort and it's the most popular test for personality test that we know of. And, I think also one point is that we change. Sometimes we grow through different experiences and these experiences change us and either make us more serious or make us more social, make us more pensive. So I don't think that it's totally accurate. And sometimes it's only in the perception of other people and how they see us. But life is about interaction. And who we deal with makes a difference on how we are. So if I'm relating to Dr. Kim, I'm one way, and he has an impression of me because I'm relating to him. But if I'm relating to Pierre, he has a completely different impression, as if I'm relating to John Abelsat. And it's the same in each situation. So I think these tests don't see the whole picture and all the dynamics of interrelations with each other.
Yes.
Also, there are cultural elements that we find because, having been married to an Asian for almost 40 years, we have crisscrossed many differences. And as a result of that, we have also modified our behavior as a result of this. So it's hard to establish concretely one way or the other.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, I understand. So how about Gabriel?
Yes.
Yeah, Gabriel, what did you learn through this lesson?
Well, it's the second time actually in my life that I learn this test. I had a class to sell cars, and in that class, we had to learn to quickly assess when somebody comes in the car showroom. We have to quickly catch what type of personality that person is, otherwise we miss a sale. So actually in that course, it was a very, very important point. And I think that even though there might be change with time, adaptation to people, circumstances, culture, and this and that, basically we are who we are. We have certain traits. If I'm slow speaking, I'm slow speaking. And if I'm meticulous, of course, if I'm pushed by my boss to do more quickly, I can do more quickly, but my basic characteristic is I'm meticulous. So I think that kind of test has a value if we seriously try to figure out who basically we are. It helps. Of course, we can change with time, this, but I think this has very good value.
Yeah, thank you. Gabriel, do you know your wife's type?
I could not put the letters, but she's opposite me, so I'm slow, she's quick. I'm more, she's more dominating, I'm more like, observing and following. So that kind, we're very opposite.
예, 고맙습니다. 이렇게 자기 얘기만 하는 것이 아니고 앞으로는 와이프도 디스크 체크를 좀 해보셔서 생각하면 상당히 많은 생각을 하게 될 겁니다.
Thank you very much. Maybe, next time your wife can do the DISC assessment test and participate together, then you can think of many things.
Yeah, it will be interesting to discover the truth, to find out.
예, 어쨌든 여기 참석하신 분들은 필히 와이프와 가족들의 디스크 검사를 해서 그 다음에 같이 토론하시면 참 좋습니다.
So those who are participating today, please do this DISC assessment test with your family and maybe, have a discussion together.
예를 들자면요, 지금 제가 프랑코 같은 스타일은 DISC가 거의 높은 점수라고 얘기했습니다.
So for example, Dr. Franco, he said all four types, DISC, are equally distributed.
네, 상황에 따라서 DISC의 성격들이 튀어나옵니다.
So depending on the situation, some part of this, each different type may show in his character.
근데 오랫동안 리더 생활한 거 보면은 D 스타일도 상당히 강하죠.
He's been a leader for a long time, so I can say he has a strong D personality, D type.
비판적이고 분석적인 얘기를 자주 하는 걸 보면 또 C 타입도 강하다는 걸 알 수 있습니다.
But also he's very critical and analytical, so I can say he is also C type요?
예, C 타입. 예.
C type person.
분석적이고 부정적이고 좀 이렇게 뭐라고 그래야 될까? 긍정적이 아닌 생각이 DNA처럼 갖고 있다는 걸 얘기하는 거예요. 이 검사에 의하면은.
So you can say in your DNA, you have this analytical and negative way of thinking, critical thinking in your personality.
이런 경우에는 우리가 어저께 우리가 이 그 CLS2를 할 때 제가 큰 감동받은 그런 내용이 하나 있습니다.
There was one thing that I was really moved from yesterday's CLS class.
뭐라고 얘기를 하냐면 발표자가 D라고 하는 거는 주도성이 강하고 돌격적이고 창의적이지만은 이거를 다른 사람한테 하는 것보다도 먼저 자기를 주도하는 데 사용하는 것이 좋겠다. 이런 견해를 밝혔거든요.
So one of the presenter yesterday said, for example, D-type personality may be very dominant and more of attacker type and more creative. But instead of using this personality towards other people, if this D-type person uses his or her personality to transform himself or herself in his own case, then it's a really good way to think or know.
그 두 부분은 나중에 우리 앞에서 포옹까지 했습니다. 서로.
And it was a couple, and at the end of the class day, the couple, like, gave a hug to each other.
네, 키스까지 해줬어요.
And they kissed in front of everybody.
예.
Kissed each other.
마찬가지로 이게 무슨 말이냐면요. D형과 C형은 참 매칭되기가 쉽지 않습니다.
So what I'm trying to say is D-type personality with the C-type personality is very difficult to get along.
그렇기 때문에 D타입이 합시다 할 때 C타입은 앉아서 그게 돼? 그거 힘들 거야? 이런 생각을 하고 앉아 있다는 거죠. 행동적으로.
So for example, D-type person says, oh, let's do this, let's go for this. Then the C-type person will think or say, oh, is that possible? Really? I don't think so. That will be difficult. Is how the C-type person think.
그럴 때 D타입은 C타입의 모습을 보면서 거부하고 거절하는 모습이 보여지죠. 영적인 동물이기 때문에 사람은.
So people are very spiritual. So the D-type person can sense and feel from the C-type person that there's a negativity and rejection.
그래서 화가 더 나죠. D타입은.
So it will make the D-type person be more angry, or
더 강력하게 자기 스타일대로 간단 말이죠.
And then maybe the D-type person will pursue it even more strongly the way he wants it to be done.
그 C타입은 자기한테 하는 것으로 또 이제 알아듣죠, 그거는.
And then the C-type person will think, oh, that D-type person is doing against me or to me.
근데 이거는 서로 자기의 이고로서 관념적으로 판단하기 때문에 이런 행동과 결과가 나타나게 되는 거죠.
But it's only because they have their own ego and they relate to each other with their own concept.
만약에 이 D타입의 리더가 C타입 리더를 테스트해서 저 사람은 원래 저런 DNA는 아니지만 그런 걸 갖고 있다고 생각하면 그렇게 화 안 내지 않습니다. 저 사람 저런 사람이다라고 인정을 하게 되죠.
So for example, if D-type leader knows that the C-type person has a certain character or personality type, then the D-type leader would not get angry about the reaction from the C-type person because he understands, oh, he has that personality. It's so he would understand the person better.
이거 받아들이게 되죠.
So the D-type leader will accept the C-type person.
여러분 좀 재미를 위해서 엉뚱한 얘기 좀 해보겠습니다.
So for just for interest, for fun, I want to share a thing.
닥터 용한테 몹시 미안한 얘기인데.
I'm really sorry to Dr. Young.
이런 스타일입니다, 그분.
So he is this type of person, like he has this type of personality.
항상 큰 비전도 크고 모든 것이 다 큽니다. 그리고 합시다 이런 스타일이 아닙니까?
Isn't he a person with like a big vision and goal and always say let's do kind of type of personality that he has? Don't you think?
만약에 C타입 사람들이 그걸 들었을 때 어떻게 판단하고 팔로우하게 되냐 하는 것이 있겠죠.
So for example, if the C-type person listens what Dr. Young, for example, say, the way he says things and leads, what would the C-type people, or how they think and judge and react?
네, 이런 의미에서 이거는 상당히 중요한 거죠.
That's why in this manner, in this sense, it's very important, I believe.
저는 항상 이렇게 주문합니다. 리더가 되었다면 그 리더는 빨리 자기의 임지에서 자기의 팔로워들의 디스크 검사를 해서 어떤 성향이 어떻게 많은가, 어디에 많은가를 꼭 파악하라.
So I would suggest for any leaders, if they once they become a leader and they are assigned to a certain area, I would ask them to take this DISC test of all the followers or members, so that you would know what type of personalities are the majority among them.
예. 그래서 그것을 갖고 이제 D타입이 C타입이 많다고 하면은 상당히 신중하게 결과부터 얘기하지 말고 프로세스를 아주 구체적으로 자세하게 꼼꼼하게 천천히 얘기를 해야 되겠죠.
So for example, if there are many C-type personality people, then instead of talking about the result, it's better to express slowly more in details about the process rather than the result.
예, 우리 김문식 회장님이 캐나다에는 주로 S타입이 많다고 말씀하셨습니다.
So Dr. Munshi Kim said in Canada there are many S-type people.
이 지도자는 참 좋은 환경 속에 있는 겁니다, 지금.
So I can say this leader is in a really very good environment of people.
S-스타일 사람들은요, 둥글둥글하게 남하고 부딪히기 싫어하는 그런 성격의 소유자이기 때문에 싸우려고 그러지도 않고 지금까지 남아있다면 거의 다 S-스타일 사람들이 남아있는 게 다 S-스타일이에요.
So this S-type people are rather more like round people who don't like to fight with each other, and they're very resilient in a way. So those who are remained as members will be most likely S-type people.
일본 가서 검사해 봤더니 거의 다 S-스타일이었었어요.
And when I did this assessment test in Japan, most of the people were S-type people.
예, D-스타일이 한국 지도자가 많을 때 D-스타일의 식구들은 거의 다 없어져 버렸어요.
So when there were many Korean leaders who were D-type, who had D-type personality, and many Japanese members with D-type personality just disappeared.
제가 코칭을 처음 들어갔을 때 많은 지도자들이 교수님 그거 갖고는 안 됩니다. 이런 스타일로 저한테 충고를 했었습니다.
So when I first brought this coaching style in Japan, many leaders told me, "Oh, Professor Keel, this is not going to work. This style doesn't work."
네. 이것은 뭐냐 하면은 우리가 나 자신도 뭔지를 알고 그다음에 상대도 뭔지 알았을 때 훨씬 좋은 리더십이 탄생한다는 거죠.
So when we know ourselves, we know ourselves, and then we know other parts, other people, then we can build a really great leadership.
예, 그래서 C형 스타일의 부인을 가졌을 때 항상 조마조마하고 남편이 D형일 때 항상 불평스럽고 불만스럽고 이런 것들을 표출해서 됩니다.
So for example, if a wife has a C-type personality, it's always kind of worrisome. And if D-type, the husband is D-type personality, always complains about things.
혹시
For example.
생각하시는 크리스티나 리와 남편이 혹시 그런 서로 좀 다른 스타일 아니십니까? 재미로 얘기하는 겁니다.
What about Christina and your husband? Aren't you a very different type?
I think my wife is S, and my type is I.
So okay, I'm like a CS. CNS. I did that. CS was very equally strong, and my husband was like I type.
벌써 이렇게 안다는 것 자체가 화목할 수 있는 분위기를 이끌 수가 있다는 거예요.
So if you know each other's character or personality type, then you can bring harmony between you.
그리고 앞으로 우리가 소그룹을 통해서 43과정을 만들어야 되는데 필히 리더는 43과정 또는 3과정, 12과정에 이 디스크 분석을 해가지고 자기가 대처를 해야 되는 것입니다.
So, you know, all of us have to build a small group and restore 43 families and become leaders. And all leaders should be able to do this DISC assessment test so that you can build, you know, Trinity and 12 families and prepare ahead of time how to relate to these types of people.
그래서 참부모님께서도 인간 철학을 탐구해야지 사람을 이끌어갈 수 있다 이렇게 말씀하셨죠.
So true parents also said you have to learn the philosophy of living human beings so you can relate to them in a better way.
오케이, 여기서 지금 우리 그 존과 게이코 씨 어떻게 생각하십니까? 존 and 게이토 얘기.
Sean and Keiko, so what do you think?
Could you tell us?
Could you tell us about your couple?
We did the assessment. We both did.
No.
In my case, I was very strong. Strongest one is I. Then 1 point less is S. Then a little bit less is C. And my low score is D. So my ISC is my biggest score. And Keiko's is ISD or IDS because S and D is exactly the same for her. Same number. But I is a little bit stronger. So looking at that, I found like when I was doing the assessment, I could see like my character, my thinking used to be more C, but now I'm changing. It's getting less. Changing a little bit, like more focusing on not criticizing people, not judging people, but being more appreciating and trying to figure out like their thinking and their point of view, and not so much like my critical analysis, that kind of thing. Because that always made problems for me, or always makes problems for me. When I criticize too much, big trouble all the time. So.
Yeah. I think you are very, very coaching style. Yeah, you are very, very good coach. You'll be a very good coach.
The assessment.
Yeah. How think about your husband's thing, Keiko? How about
yes, actually we attend the morning devotion of the Dr. Young, and when he shared the appreciation, almost every day, he's talking about his, the weak part. That was to try to change, try to look at the people more positive way, or more how do you say that, not judging, and almost every day, when you look at the people. Some kind of checkpoint coming out like that, or that was his kind of really working so hard to change such a character. So that's why this assessment, when we do the really working on the life of faith, we can get rid of some of our weak part, and then become, I think, the how do you say, the round, the more, the character, that is, I believe. And maybe if I take this test, maybe let's say 5 years ago, I'm sure my score is different. Maybe it could be that I'm, dominating type or something.
More D, yeah. More D.
Something is that mine's also the getting the very close scores. The highest is 1 point higher is the I. And D and S is the the 1 point less, and then the lowest is the C. So
but almost the same. It's not not so far.
Like yeah, so not too high, not too low. That kind of thing. So I
like Franco. She's like Franco.
Okay.
I think but I think that when you use this one, it's good to just like how do you say, get some idea. But I think we shouldn't how do you say, trap in this idea, because people always changing. So maybe the 1 month later maybe different or something like this. So I think we need to look at the people to such a try to look at such a fresh eye, or the guidance of the the what the heavenly parents are looking at or something like this. I think we need to, with that kind of heart, it's kind of like a get idea, and at the beginning it's good, but we shouldn't really trap on that, the first assessment or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
It should be like a guideline to see the people, but not like the limit, not like this is absolutely right.
Okay. 처음에
I have a question for them.
Yes.
So the King family, do you agree the result with each other?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it gave me cause for thought. Like, okay, this used to be like definitely when I looked at the circle chart, the more I used to be more like this, but now I feel like I'm changing. So I feel like it does make sense. Like, we did things before, like 4 love languages or some other personality tests, and they all kind of make sense, but they're not like the hard line. It's kind of like a gray line, right? They're kind of in that area.
Yeah.
So we can have characteristics from D, I, S, or C, but more leaning this way or more leaning that way. I agree with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, same as when we took the twice marriage course, and there is like assessment, and we see the first time and second time is a bit different. So it means somehow we are getting growing or something like this. If we don't care the grow ourselves, maybe stay same or could be worse or something like that. But if we try to improve ourselves, I think our character, maybe basic character may be very similar, like tendency or something like this. But we try to avoid our bad part, or try to improve the bad part. So I think become more. I hope we can get more round, or something like that. But of course, some people has a very strong, the leadership. I'm sure those kind of people are more, strong on D. But still, I think like Dr. Franco, he has kind of round leadership, that he can take like that. That's maybe,
Okay, thank you very much. So Sergi Brasso, how do you think this lesson?
Can you please unmute?
Okay, Sergi.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I came at the end of your presentation, Professor Gill, so I missed most of it. I came from work. But of course, I've done this type of test before. I think my type is more of an S type, something like that. Anyway, I have to look more into it. I did print last night, but I'm sorry I came a little bit late. I have to look more into it.
Okay. 마지막으로 누가 한 사람이 얘기했으면 좋겠네요.
Okay, lastly, anyone who would like to share or have questions maybe, or I can see Melissa there.
I can share my result.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we got this kind of late. I'm sorry that I didn't really look into it, but I think it's very useful. And Serge thinks he's an S, but I think he's also I. I think S and I are his strong points because he really he's very optimistic. He's not just passive completely. He's not he's got this easygoing style, but he also really loves to be around people, and he really he's very he shines when there are people around. So he's always looking for how to be with people, and I'm the opposite. We're really opposite. I'm a C with some D, so I'm kind of like very precise, and I see things very clearly, and I can be strong about those viewpoints sometimes. So we have a lot of trouble many times to really understand each other. It's a constant challenge to develop this. Anyway, I'm speaking because I think it's good to see the other half of the couple and what, since you were doing couples, I thought you would enjoy hearing about both halves of this couple. Thank you for your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. So, 우리 김문식 회장님 마지막 말씀.
I have a question
Oh.
to Professor Gill.
Yeah.
Professor Gill, you know, the religious youth surveys have developed a very extensive program in personality on 3 different characters, not 4, which I have used in you know, big groups of 30 to 40 people constantly in our work project. Is it, you know, one is, you know, like a leadership type, and one is more critical thinking, one is a following type. Having 4 different types is better than 3 types. Have you ever looked into the 3 different differentiation points?
구체적으로 핵심적인 질문을 해주셨으면 합니다. 정확하게.
So I'm sorry. Can you please just pinpoint what your question is?
In this, there are 4 different types, but you know, I'm used to 3 different types. Will that work as well, or these 4 types are better?
지금 질문의 요지가 혹시 본인이 3가지 타입의 어떤 그 심리학적 도구를 갖고 있는데 이 4가지 타입보다 어떤가 이걸 물어보시는 건지요?
네네.
아, 그렇죠? 예. 4가지 유형은요, 동양에서도 뭐 다혈질이다, 담즙질이다 등등해서 4가지 유형으로 동양에서 나누고 있습니다.
Like in the Oriental community or insight, they divide into 4 types of personality, including like hot-tempered and, you know, leading type, and, you know, that I shared.
네, 그렇기 때문에 심리학적으로 애니어그램 같은 건 더 많은 스타일로 나눕니다.
어떤 프로그램이라고 하시죠?
애니어그램. Yeah.
Enneagram. In psychological way of test, there are like different types of tests called Enneagram. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with. And there are far more different types of personalities they divide into.
또 이제 가장 많이 이제 학교 같은 데서 하는 게 MBTI라고 하는 분류법입니다.
And mostly in schools, they use this program or test MBTI.
이렇게 그 심리적으로 분석하는 도구는 많이 있고 장점, 단점들이 다 있죠.
I'm sure there are many different types of tests that you can have to find out personality types, but there's always pros and cons.
이건 처음에도 얘기했지만 절대적인 것은 아닙니다.
This is not something that is absolute. Right?
그러나 약 70% 정도는 이런 스타일이네, 70~80%는 이런 스타일이 튀어나온 거. 이거는 행동이에요. behavior 타입입니다. 행동. 예, 캐릭터리틱이 아니고 behavior 타입입니다.
So this is not, this is more so of behavior type of personality. So 70 to 80%, maybe we can say it fits into these 4 different types of personality.
평소에 우리가 사이가 좋지 않는 것이 사람들은 자기 때문에 또는 너 때문에 어떤 이런 말과 행동 때문에 그렇다고 생각하는데 그것보다는 원래 그런 행동 유형을 갖고 있다라고 생각하면 훨씬 이해하기가 쉽다는 거죠.
So when we relate to people in daily life, maybe you have someone you don't get along with each other, maybe because of the person's way of talk or behavior, but it's not because how, but it's more so the personal behavior type. And if we understand that, then we can understand each other in a much better way.
우리가 지금 43가정에 앞으로 집중하게 되는데
We have to focus on witnessing and blessing 43 families from now,
또는 12가정.
or 12 families.
그래서 우리가 이제 모임을 자주 갖게 될 거 아니겠습니까?
You will have to have more meetings more frequently.
그럴 때 리더는 상대방의 행동형을 알면은 접근하고 방법론이 훨씬 좀 다르게 그 상대에 맞게 접근할 수 있다는 이런 장점을 갖고 있어요.
So as a leader, when you have lead these kind of meetings, if you know the patterns or types of people's behavior, then it will give you a much easier or better method to approach to these people.
우리 많은 지도자들은 그런 생각보다는 자기중심적 생각으로 자기의 목적을 달성하기 위해서 일방적인 경우가 너무 많았다는 겁니다.
So even in our church, leaders have been approaching the members centering on their goals or purpose more so than approaching that sense that way.
우리는 거기에 상당히 익숙해져 있어요.
And we are all accustomed to such relationship.
그러나 우리가 앞으로 맞이해야 될 다음 세대들은 절대 익숙해 있지 않습니다. 그 방법에 대해서.
However, the next generation are not accustomed or to this kind of way of building a relationship with each other.
스스로 상대 안에 있는 장점과 힘들을 이끌어내주는 그런 리더가 되어야 앞으로 우리 세계를 이끌어 나가야 된다는 거죠.
So as a leader, you should be able to bring out the best character or personality or ability from the person or from people so that you can lead people like this in the world.
참어머님께서도 이런 방법을 지금 바라시고 계세요.
And True Mother also wishes that we use this kind of style or method.
그래서 이제 우리는 이걸 갖고 이제 코칭 스타일이다 이렇게 표현할 수 있겠는데.
And we can say this is a coaching style.
우리가 다음번 CLS3 시간에 전문적으로 이 코칭 스타일에서 공부하게 될 겁니다.
In our next chapter, which is CLS3 sessions, we will learn about this coaching style in a more professional way and manner.
예, 고맙습니다. 제가 이제
Thank
또
you very
9시부터 다른 또 모임이 있기 때문에
I have another meeting from 9 o'clock, so.
예, 마지막으로 우리 그 회장님께서 매듭짓는 좋은 말씀 한마디 부탁드리면서 마치겠습니다.
Dr. Kim, could you please wrap it up with your insight or your inspiration from this class? Today is the last session.
Yes. Thank you, Professor Gill. I think we are very grateful to Professor Gill's his lifetime research and practice. As far as I know, Professor Gill have been contributing this home group style or this CLS style, coaching style, education. I remember exactly, I don't know when was it, like 2006 or 7, even that time, Dr. Kill was leading some teaching group of this about Hundok Family Church home group, this coaching style teaching. I remember that time I visited Sunmun University with my friends, and he really dedicated to build up this foundation. I think the problem is that we don't have this enough the foundation to lead a group, and also we didn't have much experience. So I feel there is a little bit gap between this theory and our reality. So that's my honest feeling, especially, depends on the countries. I think we live in the very developed country, Canada. I think we have our own also environment and some issues or challenges. So, but I believe that Professor Gill's this system, if we really study carefully, I think it is so much wisdom there, and also based on the experience. So if we really committed to do this home group, I believe there's tremendous the, help and guidance is there. So I hope and pray that we can maybe discuss more, and then we can also practice more for this home group, and then I really fear, we can get more if we study carefully about this, teaching. So let us give a big round of applause to Professor Gill. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. 그러면 이상으로서 우리가 CLS2 시간을 마치겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you very
감사합니다.
much. We'll conclude our CLS class. Thank you, Ami.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Please enjoy your next Zoom meeting. I know you have one in a few minutes, and Professor Gill as well. Thank you so much for the class. We'll see you all during the closing ceremony then. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, staff.
Thank you.
Very, very much.
Thank you for your great
Thank
listening.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you again. Thank you.